Hello everyone and welcome back to Middle School GSA. I am Felonious Ferris, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm joined by...
You always, no matter how many times I tell you not to introduce me like that, you still do it. And it's just an integral part of this show that we have this argument. It's just how we introduce the shows, with the same argument over and over and over again. Yeah, welcome back to this weekly podcast that comes out every week.
Uh-huh.
It's a weekly podcast with 3-week breaks every other week. Yeah. Felonious Ferris is just about out of vacation days, so
Yep.
they're going to be let go the next time.
Uh-huh.
The next time they dare to have something more exciting than this podcast in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do we want to address what happened last week?
I was in another state with my family in the woods.
Sorry. I was jokingly saying last week we don't actually care about your life. We're talking about last episode.
I don't even remember. Was that our awful neopronouns debate?
The one where you were awful, yeah.
Yeah. Where you pulled a Ben Shapiro on me?
There was not a Ben Shapiro, but
It was a Ben Shapiro. I was entirely unprepared.
Okay. Yeah, I did jump scare Felonious Ferris with a debate, and I re-listened to it, and I was kind of mean, and for that I apologize. We're not going to do that again. No more debates on this podcast, unless we get a guest.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I actually lost the vise that goes along with my microphone arm. It is somewhere in my room, but right now I'm just holding up the microphone. So I apologize if there's any inconsistency. There shouldn't be, though.
I'm really excited for the ramifications that's going to have on the editing process, your final mic quality. I was just talking with my podcast bestie Riley about how much I fucking hate this podcast because of audio issues that we have all the time. Like, we have really embarrassing audio issues on this podcast, and for that,
do we?
I apologize to the yeah, they're really bad. The occasional clicks and whatnot. They're just, maybe I'm being a little too hard on myself, because I do listen to YouTuber podcasts sometimes, and it's sometimes is just as bad, but I never was the type of person to succumb to the industry standard, it was more, it's the way I see it, there's good audio quality and bad audio quality, and just because a lot of shows have bad audio quality doesn't excuse it. I want to put out a quality product. I want to put out a good show. How have you been doing lately? What's going on in your life?
I've been reading. As I said, I was in the woods last week, and I read a lot in the woods. And I read 1984. So now, when I say literally 1984, it should have some meaning.
What did you think of 1984?
I think no one mentioned how misogynistic it is to me, so I was entirely unprepared for the main character being an actual incel.
Oh.
Not in a way that critiques being an incel, though.
Yeah, that's a frequent problem in literature.
Yeah. Anyways, if any of you guys are planning to read 1984, be warned. There are some moments where he thinks about committing violent acts against women, and just generally talks about how much he hates women the entire time.
Cis women, I assume?
No, cis women. Well, there's no fucking trans people in 1984. But it was a great book. I recommend it. It didn't give me any fresh new ideas about authoritarianism, though. Which makes sense because it's an old ass book.
Yeah, I mean, it was written in 1984. That was a long time ago, so.
Yeah, 1984 was definitely when it was written. That's why it's called that, actually. That's why it's called because it was written in 1984.
Just like the famous Dr. Dre album, 2001. that
Uh-huh.
came out in 2001.
And the same thing was 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
And
yeah. They actually had a
and
legal battle between Dr. Dre and the author of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
in Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, anyway, this isn't funny.
No, it's not funny at all.
But yeah, good book. Good book about authoritarianism. Reinforced ideas I already had.
Oh, cool. I'm glad to know that every idea that you have was represented in that book, and that every idea represented in that book is an idea that you have.
Yep,
Um,
that's exactly correct.
yeah, in like 2 weeks, I'm like going to college and moving into an apartment, so that's gonna be fun.
You didn't. Holy fucking shit. That's exciting.
Eh, nothing's exciting anymore, but it's the
Ugh.
closest. It's the closest to genuinely looking forward to something I felt in a while. But yeah,
I also
go on.
I also started reading The Witcher, and I got through the first book, and I'm partway through the second book. Um,
I thought that was a
and
video
that
game.
it is okay. I can't. This is another time where I can't tell if you're joking. It is
No,
based off.
I
It's a
thought that
video
was a
game
video
based
game.
off of It's based off of novels.
Why would they?
Um,
Why? Who bases video games off of novels?
the creators of The Witcher, evidently.
I thought The
Um,
Witcher was a freaking video game. I was like, you're reading the novelization of a video game? What a loser.
nope, nope. I'm reading the books that came out in the 1980s, written by a Polish man who evidently had not had much contact with women in his life. Um, because the books are also super misogynistic.
Hey, listen, I'm pretty Polish, okay?
Uh
And
huh.
I'm offended that you felt the need to take note of that
Uh
right
huh.
before calling him a misogynist.
Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah, it's misogynistic. Still good books. But it's another thing where no one warned me about the misogyny.
No, because
At least,
misogyny is just a given in like old like books older than like 2010, and it's just like completely socially acceptable or
yeah.
socially accepted. And it's the misogyny, homophobia, and even racism is just like completely um like it's not even just like a, oh yeah, like there's no like it was a product of its time excuse. There's just no conversation about it, which
Mhm.
is I find kind of gross. Like I've read a lot of books that just like casually not only say homophobic things or reflect a homophobic attitude at the time, but like actively enforce homophobic ideas, and nobody wants to talk about it because it's old and it's like just a given. It's like, I'm not saying we have to condemn all media that like, well, I am saying we have to condemn all media that practices bigotry within its writing, but I'm not saying we can't read these books. It's just like the conversation is worth having.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't like the main character wasn't feeling like being violent against women, but there were definitely moments where violence against women was justified, and just in general women
Was it self
were
defense? Was it a self defense situation?
um no.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we move on and do comments?
No, let's do comments.
All right. Mizukayu comments, "Oh wow, I didn't realize until halfway in this was a small channel. These vids really helped me form my own opinions. It's nice to hear in massive air quotes both sides of the argument. What do you mean both sides of the argument in quotes? Like are you saying that there's like we're like two
Oh
sides of the
my
same
god.
coin that pretend to disagree, like we're implementing like a divide and conquer strategy on our audience. Like me and you are
Oh.
just like Obama and George Bush, and we secretly
Uh-huh.
just like snort cocaine off of the same hookers on weekends, but pretend that we're
Uh-huh.
political oppositions and cancel each other out.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's appreciate you. I think this is the first time that this person's ever commented, so welcome. Uh,
Yeah.
if you comment on the show, we will read your comment, and that's how we guilt trip our audience into continuing to listen to us.
And to interact with our videos.
Yeah, it's great. Pepito says, and I apologize if this gets lost in translation. This isn't worded very well. But it says, response to podcast. Neopronoun end up be perceived as SJW people, so they aren't accepted by society. They them is more accepted by society, but it ends up used as misgendering by closet right-wing people to say someone is a freak. These are true statements. Neopronouns are less accepted by society because they are, I wouldn't say perceived as SJW is the reason that they are less accepted. They them is more accepted than cat self, although widely not socially accepted. Let's face it, most people are not going to.
They're silly and goofy.
What the hell did you just say?
Did you hear anything? I didn't hear anything.
I heard you whispering something about silly and goofy.
No, it was just the wind. It was just the wind.
Okay, they them pronouns are not generally socially accepted or affirmed, I should say. Respected or affirmed. And I guess, yeah, they are used to misgender trans people, but people who I don't know. Like I don't really think I don't think maliciously calling like trans women they is like a huge thing anymore, because it became uncool because like people actually want to be called they nowadays. So, and they kind of just lump all trans people into one category. But like, yeah, no, it's true that trans women and trans men are often misgendered. Being called they is like thrown in another category in like a derogatory way. I just don't think that should mean anything in the conversation of whether or not they them pronouns are valid. Because at the end of the day, misgendering someone is simply using pronouns or using pronouns that don't match somebody's identity, that are not someone's preferred pronouns. So just as calling me they is misgendering me in most contexts, calling someone who goes by they a she or a he is also misgendering. I don't think any pronoun is invalidated because it's used to misgender people. I think it's a silly thing to hyperfixate on. Pacific Grant said, shocked to say this, but I actually completely agree with Demi here. I don't think gender is a spectrum. Okay, so you don't completely agree with me, because I very much think gender is a spectrum. In fact, that was my entire argument, relied on the basis that gender was a spectrum. However, if you do and you don't believe in neopronouns, then you are just being a hypocrite. If you don't think gender or gender roles mean anything except this vague idea of a spectrum, you cannot just decide arbitrarily what is on the spectrum because you don't like it. That's not true. Being a spectrum doesn't mean that anything is gender. I agree with Felonious Ferris when they said that really liking cats is not a gender. Just because gender is a spectrum doesn't mean that it doesn't exist or it's completely meaningless. Like there's no boundaries as to what is and isn't gender. Gender is very much a thing, and I don't think that acknowledging that it's a spectrum or that people can be more things than just men and women, like just destroys like our understanding of gender. I think it's just silly. Pacific Grant, honestly, worst commenter we have, most insufferable, like just thick-skulled.
I don't even remember having a comment from them before.
We've definitely had comments from them before. User IG9VO1PQ4D. Okay, listen. Tell us what we're supposed to call you, because I'm not reading that every single time. But I appreciate you commenting, but please tell me what I can call you besides user IGVO1PQD4D. Please give me a name that I can call you. If you're like a non-binary person, and this is your name, I apologize. If you're not non-binary, there's no excuse for that being your username. Let's be honest. I mean, honestly, that sounds like binary to me. So kind of the opposite of non-binary if that's what you're going for, but whatever. It just says, Demigloom casually bringing up Kenny G. Yeah, I love Kenny G. Kenny G is a good musician. Go listen to Kenny G. Great stuff. They also commented, "Oh my god, Demi, you're so mean to Ferris in this one. It's actually really funny. I lulled, but I feel bad for them. They were getting so flustered. I don't even know what you two were arguing about. Cat self, Lamau. This was a good podcast." So a lot of ideas here.
Oh my gosh.
I need to stop saying Hopefully being hyper aware and insecure about saying all the time will stop me from saying so much. Yeah. As I said, I had a severe and continuous lapse in judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I just want it to be known that I strive to do better, and that I'm only human after all. Although I do believe people who don't identify as humans are valid, unlike somebody else in this call.
Uh-huh.
This is so bad. Like, every single joke that I've made is so, like, ridiculously unfunny that I'm just embarrassed to be here at this point. I'm embarrassed to show my face on the internet after some of the things I've said on this show.
Well, at least you're not me.
Do you think you've embarrassed yourself on this show?
What have we been talking about for the past 15 minutes?
Literature, comments.
The last episode of our podcast that I was entirely unprepared for.
I mean, okay. I don't think you really embarrassed yourself. I think you were just wrong. Just didn't do a good job articulating. Like I feel like everyone has moments like that. Like, if you're gonna
That's
frequently do
embarrassing for me, though.
Yeah. Well, there's virtually nothing more embarrassing than my back catalog of podcasts. Like, I'm so tempted to just, like, pretend they don't exist, but I don't want to be ashamed of my past or be a revisionist. So all my embarrassing bad opinions are out there for everybody to listen to. If you can stomach the Brony Initiation podcast, or largest issue in the galaxy. But we do have
Just
a topic
think, in
tonight.
5 years.
Go on.
In 5 years, this will be the podcast that we can look back on and think is cringe.
I hope this podcast lasts for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to do this podcast from a retirement home.
Wow. That would be great. When we're both senile.
Let's face it, I'm not going to live that long. We have a topic.
We do. We do have a topic. And that topic is...
It's fetishization, particularly of and in the queer community.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm curious as to what I've been theorizing to myself what your hot takes are going to be, because you said you had hot takes.
I have some extremely hot takes, extremely cancelable opinions. And spoiler alert, they are not fetishization is good. I am here to condemn fetishization. I hope that when I say but and talk about how the left has misattributed or miscategorized certain things as fetishization, people don't completely discredit everything else I've had to say. But that's what they do. That's literally what the left is the party of. I have a pretty good definition here. There's an article called "Fetishization of the Queer Community" by Ash Markey from YouthOutright.org. It says, "Fetishization is the reduction of a person to aspects of their body, identity, or relationship structure. A person is found to be attractive solely due to these characteristics and could be exchanged with anyone else with the same characteristics. Fetishization permeates..." Is that how you pronounce that? I don't fucking know.
Permeates, yes.
Yeah, permeates the queer community, existing for and within it. This results in a variety of impacts, all of which are ultimately harmful to some degree. What do you think about this definition?
I think that's a pretty solid definition.
I think it's pretty damn solid. I think it really hits the nail on the head with what exactly fetishization is. I think the reduction of a person to a set of characteristics is the easiest way to explain it without being too broad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then thinking those characteristics are sexy and not seeing the rest of the person.
Yeah, absolutely. I think multiple groups within the LGBTQ plus community are probably some of the most fetishized groups in the world.
Yes.
besides, like, I don't know, if you consider like women with big titties to be like a demographic of people, then perhaps that's more fetishized. But I think like as far as like social social demographics go, like traditional social demographic, I don't know, things that matter about people, I guess, things that are
Mhm.
particularly identitarian, things like that. Things like your sexuality, your ethnicity, etc., etc. I think the most fetishized group out of all of these are hands down lesbians. Lesbians
Yes.
have to deal with so much fucking shit from guys. Um, and it's, I mean, it's despicable. I think I think 100% pornography plays a big part of this.
Yes.
Pornography, maybe not even just pornography, but like media that sexualizes lesbians for the pleasure of men, reinforcing the idea that lesbian relationships exist for men to view, for men to appreciate in the least wholesome way possible. And
Mhm.
that's really, really yucky. When lesbian couples just exist and men are like, dude, that's like so hot. Want to have a threesome? Like it's really gross. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Same
not
with
got good
bisexual
stuff.
women.
Bisexual women, absolutely. Bisexual people in general, honestly, are
Yeah.
just assumed to be like DTF at all times. Um,
Mhm.
just like completely, like utterly lacking in like, I guess, critical thinking or like humanity, and just like are literal just fuck machines that want to just
Mhm.
immediately get on their knees for anybody that they come in contact with. And that mere assumption has led to probably hundreds of cases of sexual assault, if I'm being honest with you. Just the mere
Mhm.
assumption that these people are willing to be put in these situations because of their sexual orientation. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to this sexually pursuing someone or even sexualizing someone in real life, like by real I mean like a real person, like there's so many boundaries that need to be established before I can even comfortably like say that it's like a healthy thing for humanity, society, and the people involved. I think people really just need to take no for an answer, and people really need to understand basic boundaries that most humans share, such as not wanting to be, flirted with on the basis of characteristics like sexuality, ethnicity. And people don't want to be reduced to those categories. People want to be seen as human beings with hobbies, interests, personality, and not just a hot lesbian or a trans woman or anything. There are definitely,
Even asexuals are fetishized.
which
I
is
just there
crazy.
was a viral tweet the other day, which you may have seen, which was one of those
It was a
incel
viral
guys.
X actually.
Oh yeah, 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 nice. Um, but this guy was like, it was the fucking perfect girlfriend meme where they like give attributes for their perfect
Okay,
woman.
those are,
And what
all things aside, those are really funny. Like how
they are
pathetic they
funny.
are.
They are funny, but then they can get extra gross.
Yeah.
This one was like, "Oh, I want an autistic girlfriend who's asexual and only has sex with me when I bribe her with gifts and toys."
Oh my
And it's like
god. You want a child?
yeah,
I'm calling the cops on you.
they want to molest a child. That's what they want.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Bribe them with toys?
Yeah,
What, like, this
that's it's in
is,
the actual meme. It's in the actual meme.
I hope to God that that was ironic, but I something
I
tells
don't
me it
think it
wasn't.
was. I don't think it was.
Even if that was ironic, that's a disgusting thing to put out there.
Yeah. Um and yeah, the account has since gone private, of course. I thought about chiming in. That's like the kind of person who really deserves to get dunked on by hordes of asexuals and autistic people.
Yeah, I agree. That's really yucky stuff.
And of course, trans people are subject to a lot of fetishization. Uh,
Myself included.
yeah,
And you're going to be
yeah,
surprised when I tell you who fetishizes me.
uh-huh.
It's not men. It's
Well,
cis
it
women
is.
mainly for
It
me.
is. It is. It is men, but then also.
No, no, I'm not saying men don't fetishize trans women. They're absolutely the main perpetrators. I think women, cis women, often get away with it,
Hmm.
but I think it's probably pretty evenly distributed. I think like people who are like so explicitly like I need girl dick right now. Like I think those are probably
Yeah.
mostly men. Um,
Yeah.
but I think like just general like here's my thing is I do not like sexual attention from people who are not attracted to women because that is almost like explicitly a statement of I am not a woman. Because if you're not attracted to women but you're attracted to me, you're basically just saying you're not a woman to me. And that also extends to people who are otherwise not attracted to women at all, but all of a sudden I show up and all of a sudden out of nowhere, you're attracted to me. And look, uh, I'm really flattered if you become a lesbian the moment I walk in the room, and I can show you, just laying your eyes upon Demigloom made you realize how beautiful women were, and you were just changed. But I don't think that's what's going on. I think very much there are a lot of women who are attracted to a certain type of guy and they kind of see me as that kind of guy, even though I don't consider myself a guy or want to be seen as a guy. And they're just like, okay, but you're a girl, so it's gay, whatever. And
Hmm.
like, I think it requires a little bit more analysis than that, especially when
Hmm.
subject me to male expectations. I'm talking about a couple specific people, if I'm being honest with you guys. Ex girlfriend, you know her, you hate her. She very much loved my huge hands and how deep my voice was, but insisted that she saw beyond my anatomy. Um, and those are just the PG-13 things that she really appreciated about me that led me to believe that she saw me as a guy. There's also just countless like situations where I was, subject to male expectations, and that's not good. And I understand that this isn't necessarily fetishization, but I think oftentimes people who fetishize trans women fetishize them as men, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people are really into femboys or
Hmm.
drag queens or feminine men and don't discern trans women from that. They see them as just that, but you call them something else. And that's really yucky. And by the way, I have nothing against feminine men like some trans women do. I have nothing against feminine men. I have nothing against women who see beauty in feminine men. I do have something against women who, uh, view trans women as feminine men and treat them that way.
Hmm. I've been I've been trying to get into dating recently. And I have been having some issues. Especially as a non someone who is very non-binary who um presents as female
How do you
almost.
present as female? What does that mean?
Um if someone looks at me, they can very accurately guess what my sex assigned at birth is.
Is that not what? Isn't that not what presenting female means? Doesn't presenting female mean you put an effort to appear? You put an effort to appear female?
Um, eh,
I feel like
I
present
don't
is an
think so.
action rather than a statement on how people perceive you, right?
Well, okay. People look at me and they see someone who's female. um, and and there's we have all of these memes going around like haha they them pussies of a different caliber.
Excuse me.
Um,
The term is "thussy."
yeah, the C. um, and I think that that was funny at first, but I think it's gotten really out of hand to a point where there are a lot of chasers, and they aren't chasers that see me as non-binary.
They're not
They're
chasers that
chasers.
appreciate the androgyny.
Yeah. they're chasers that see me as a quirky woman, which is gross. And it's especially difficult because I can never really, it's hard to tell the difference a lot of the time.
Fetishization almost always masks itself as like acceptance, um,
Mhm. Yeah,
affirmation, etc., etc.
definitely. I definitely had. See, it's not even like I've gone on a lot of dates with a lot of people. 3 people to be specific. um, but one of them like immediately tried to pick up the bill for both of us after we were done eating, and it was a moment like, oh, this guy does not see me as non-binary. This guy sees me as a woman.
Now imagine that same exact feeling of invalidation, except you are the one who has to pay the bills. So it's
Yeah.
invalidation and you owe them money. So I think I get a point above you in that category.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
I think you
kidding.
do.
I don't go on
um
dates. I like people, and then I say I like you, and if they like me back, we become more than friends. I don't I don't
mhm.
do the performative shit.
I don't do you're so much better than me. You're so right, Demigloom.
Are you being
Um
you're being sarcastic, right?
I am being sarcastic.
No, like I don't know. I don't have anything against it. It's just not for me. Like I don't
Uh-huh.
enjoy that awkward like I don't enjoy having romantic stakes in a situation with somebody that I don't know. It feels like I'm committing to something that I'm not sure if I'm feeling or not. And I
Yeah.
don't like that feeling at all. I like knowing very much what I expect from a person. I like, I like to I like to get a free sample before I purchase a product, you know.
Mhm.
That sounded horrible.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I just mean I like to know a person before I escalate things. And
um
I'm also demisexual. If you couldn't guess that Demigloom was demisexual.
uh-huh.
Um not interested. I'm like not interested in like random people. Like I could never lay
Mhm.
my eyes upon somebody who I haven't had a conversation with and say, "Yeah, I want to go out with that person."
Mhm. Yeah, this same guy who tried to pick up the bill during our date, I did not allow him to, by the way, just to be clear.
Did you split it
Um
50-50?
I see I should have I've been kind of agonizing over it. I should have said let's each pay for our own food, but instead I said let's split it 50-50. Which is what we did.
See, like, so okay, so if like men pay 100% of it and women pay 0% of it, does a non-binary person just pay 50% of it? Is that how it works? Is that the rule?
um no.
I'm joking.
um yeah. But this guy then took me to a bar so he could drink in front of me because I'm not 21 yet. And then propositioned me, asked me if I wanted to go back to his place. And the
Oh,
entire date had been a disaster. It was terrible the entire time. Um, but yeah, that was fucking lame.
yeah. See, I
And I
don't see
only
like anytime I hear people say like, "Yeah, I'm getting into like dating. I got this dating." Like this is the type of shit that I hear. It's like, why would I want
yeah.
that?
I do have someone who I've been dating quite consistently for a while now. One thing that's good about that I've found about dating apps is I can verify that they're bisexual. Because it's usually just listed there in their profile. I'm not going to date a straight man. There were times when I had like likes from straight men who were listed as straight men in their profiles. Um, and that was another kind of
That's just
vomit
mean.
moment. Yeah.
That's literally just. I mean, did you have like they them in your bio or like
Yeah,
you had an
I had they
indication
them
that you're non-binary?
non-binary.
Yeah,
I
because
see I don't even think that they realized how wrong it and how like kind of
I've heard I've heard men
insulting it
utter
is.
I've heard men utter the term non-binary girls
Yeah.
in a positive like context.
Yeah.
Before you fucking get on me and say that, well, somebody could technically be a demigirl or a non-binary and a girl. That's not what they were talking about. Trust me, they
Mhm.
are not aware of that concept. They simply like see people that they see as women identifying as non-binary and like, oh, non-binary girls. I mean, not the people. Let me touch your pussy. Like, okay, fuck off.
Mhm. Yeah. Um but it's the verifying of the bisexuality that is really so helpful. And anyways, this is going into dating apps, which isn't part of the conversation. But yeah, non-binary people, especially assigned female at birth non-binary people, are also fetishized. Yucky,
Assign male
yucky.
birth non-binary people too. Don't take all the credit.
Yeah, this is true.
It's all. I mean, realistically, virtually every possible demographic of people with a single freckle 2 inches below their left eye are probably a fetishized group of people somewhere on the internet. But like people who are victim to like very frequent fetishization, I'd say are mainly people in the queer community and people of certain ethnicities. People of any ethnicity is fetishized.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of which groups are more affected by that.
Hmm. People with disabilities.
That's another thing. The autism fetish is getting out of control.
Yeah. It was nice for people to be attracted to me for once in my life, but it's gotten out of hand. Everyone needs to dial it back.
I was I'm pretty astonished by how frequently people are attracted to me, given the fact that I'm like a fucking hunchback who is just pretty objectively like there's a lot of physical characteristics that I have, and I'm not gonna let people in the comments tell me please don't comment Demigloom, you're so hot, let me suck your girl dick. I don't want to hear that from MSGSA fans. I like to pretend that people don't have those thoughts about me, but pretty large amount of people find me attractive, and unfortunately, I think it has to do with TikTok. I have,
Hmm.
I've said this before, but I think 100% there is a frequent amount of women come across me and go, "Oh my god, it's a penis girl from TikTok." Like I very much feel like my existence is kind of treated not as a existence of a certain kind of human and more of like almost like a subculture,
Yeah.
Just it's not great. It's more of a total life dominating force rather than an interest or a hobby.
Hmm.
It's not fun.
I think that the jokes can be funny when they're told by trans people to trans people, but this is one of those things where I think that cis people are on extremely shaky ground. These are trans insider jokes that have been kind of hijacked by chasers.
That's how
Ugh.
I feel when not even with just like fetish shit, when I listen to like someone like Vosh or like other like leftists like YouTubers that are like cis men, um they'll use terms like gigapassoid. And I'm like, you're not supposed to know what that fucking means, bro.
Oh my
You
god.
don't get to say gigapassoid. The funny thing about Vosh specifically is that like there's like a conspiracy theory that Vosh is secretly a trans woman, because Vosh will like make fun of trans women or just make comments like that almost like could only come from the perspective of another trans woman.
Uh-huh.
Like he talks about trans women like he's one of us.
Uh-huh.
I just want to say I support her. We
Have you seen all of the Okay, this is really a sidebar. But have you seen all of the jokes about the Unabomber?
the Unabomber being a trans woman.
Yeah.
I mean, Ted Kaczynski did experience pretty intense gender dysphoria, to my knowledge.
Hmm. Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a joke. It seems like a observation of a basic reality that unfortunately wasn't able to be addressed.
Yeah. The there's a lot of stuff where it'll be like Ted Kaczynski appreciation posts like, I support her.
Oh yeah,
Would her story be different if she had gotten gender affirming care?
there's got to
That
be a
kind of
fan fiction
stuff.
out there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's fucking Columbine fan fiction, so who fucking
Oh
knows?
god.
True crime fan We gotta. On the topic of fetishization, this is almost completely unrelated, but true crime fetishization, which is a completely
Oh
different
yeah.
concept. We should talk about that sometime because
I had a friend I had a friend who was one of those Tumblr girls, um, who like had a brief phase where she would talk to me about how hot this one serial killer was and how she wanted to write him in prison.
Look, I get it. I get the intrusive thought, but the dedication,
Oh
that's
god.
just something else.
Uh-huh. It is. It is. It really is.
I think there's something
How
inherently shocking about seeing like a serial killer and just like looking at them like, damn, he's kind of hot.
uh-huh.
And like, kind of like uh amplifying that for the sake of like humor, but like when you like actually like get like emotionally attached to somebody like a serial killer or like a
Mhm.
terrorist, like it's a little bit concerning.
Mhm.
Considering that's also one of like the biggest red flags that someone is going to be that kind of person is interest in
Mhm.
previous cases.
Mhm.
But yeah, I digress.
Anyways.
Fetishization of homosexual relationships and those in them by heterosexual people of the opposite sex. Big old problem.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I went to high school. My freshman year of high school, there was okay, they weren't a lesbian couple. They were two girls that were really good friends. They were in like a PQR, and they would like cuddle each other and like hug each other. Basically everything short of making out in the hallways.
Mhm.
Made me a little bit uncomfortable, but not really. I mean, I grew used to it pretty quickly. But what looked very much like a lesbian relationship from the outside. Uh, an old friend of mine who was very socially inept would constantly be like, "Oh my god, that's so hot!" Like, "Oh, they're so hot."
Oh.
But like also like mask it as like a
Ooh.
supportive thing. Like, damn, go you two. You guys are extremely hot. I support your relationship. It's
Ugh.
so yucky.
Ugh, yeah. Yeah. And there are a lot of we haven't really talked or mentioned yaoi girls at all. Um, but yaoi girls get pretty fucking bad. Pretty fucking bad.
This is where the hot takes start pouring in.
Uh-huh. Um, for now I'll just say that it is extremely egregious when yaoi girls are like, "Oh my gosh, my little uwu gabies," to like real gay men.
Yeah.
And
See,
even their fucking yaoi fictional relationships, calling anyone a gaby, that I personally would prefer to be called a slur.
probably, yeah. I mean, if it was funny, if it was really funny though,
If it
being
was
called a
really
gay would be
funny.
kind of cute.
Uh-huh.
Or if it was by another gay person, but like
Mhm.
by like a straight person, like no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really yucky. But my extremely hot take, I I believe I don't believe our condemnation of fetishization needs to extend to basic sexual thought that technically, not even technically, like falls into categories such as uh like queer. I think to rephrase this, I sound like I'm trying to sound smart, and in reality, I'm just a stupid person trying to get my point across. I do not think if a man, like whether it's watching media, use your imagination, or just like thoughts in the head, in the brain, thinks like of like a lesbian relationship or lesbian stuff, or thinks like, oh my god, girls squishing their boobies together, that's kind of hot. I don't think that makes you a fetishizer, and I don't think that inherently means you're reducing a group of people to that kind of characteristic. I think basics. I think that's like, in a way, that's like just like really bad to tell people that like this like basic sexual thought is like inherently degrading to a group of people, because I don't think it is. Just as I think I think, as is with most things, it has to do with men being like really fucking immature and not handling things like this. Like I think if like for example, a man can be like, "Oh my god, I like girls with like really big boobies." Um I don't think that's inherently wrong. I think it's okay to find certain things attractive like that. Um and especially or that's the case if a man could be in the same room with a woman with large breasts and not think anything of it. Because if you're not inherently sexualizing a characteristic like that, you're not saying the thing is inherently sexual. You're just saying within the realm of sexual thought, this is a theme. I don't think that's bad necessarily. Um, and also, I would say that this is gonna be an extremely hot take. I don't think liking girl dick as a straight man makes you a fetishizer of trans women. I think in the name of the normalization of trans women and the inclusion of trans women within concepts like sex and beauty, um, in the name of trans women being women, essentially, in all these realms of thought, uh, liking girls with like big dicks should be no different than liking girls with big titties. That's my hot take.
You know, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree with what you've said thus far. I agree. And I don't think these are just traits that make up people, as you've said. And it's okay to find these traits attractive. And I don't think just 100% repressing any sexual desire you have for these traits is the answer. um like I'm fine with someone seeing me being non-binary as one trait of a whole person and happening to find that trait attractive. I honestly, that's preferred. If you find me more attractive, that's nice. um,
Hey, I have some
and
devastating news.
yeah.
I didn't hear the last like 2 minutes of what you said. You're gonna have to repeat yourself a little bit.
Um,
Did you say I heard? Sorry, I was interrupted. Can you take it back to I don't just fuck it. Start over. So, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
it's fine. Um, I don't think that if someone sees me as a whole person and being non-binary is one of the traits of my entire personality, um, and happening to find the trait of me being non-binary attractive, I think that that is fine. And I honestly, it's a person is finding me more attractive. That's great.
Especially if they genuinely see you as non-binary and androgynous, and
Yeah.
it's not like a it's a quirky girl type of vibe, and it's
Hmm.
like genuinely. I think that's a beautiful thing. Just as like,
Yeah, I really
and
do.
I don't think that's any different than being like I'm more into guys than girls. I'm more into and again in the name of the normalization and inclusion of these groups of people within this kind of thought, and not making weird like complicated rules for finding people attractive because they're in certain groups. Like I think it's very similar. Like I think if you have a preference for men or women and that's completely acceptable, it should be fine to have a preference for androgynous people.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that it's like many things, people just take it too far. Um, People become obsessed with certain demographics and then pursue them purely on the basic of them being that demographic and not seeing them as an entire person.
And I would say that's a problem too, even with traditional categories. If you're pursuing women because they have vaginas exclusively, you see women as
Yeah.
nothing but holes. I mean, if you're at like a fucking like sex party or whatever, it's like okay, whatever. Like you're literally just in like you're just a bunch of sardines in a can, just trying to put balls in holes as fast as possible. That's a completely different story. But when we're talking about normal society, like if you're reducing women to the fact that they're women or men to the fact that they're men and pursuing them only because of that, that's yucky. And
It is
seeing
yucky.
seeing women inherently as a whole, or men as inherently, what's the male version of a whole? I don't know. I'm sorry. um, I'm sorry. I'm not equally insulting. I'm
Hot
sorry.
dog.
I don't have any men. Yeah. Okay. Hot dog. Sure. Um. Yeah. No. If you reduce anyone to these characteristics, it's bad. I think just the same rules should be applied for queer people and non-queer people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you know what I mean? Like, I think that, as I said, like, if you like big booba, and you can also sit in a room with a woman who has like large breasts and not stare at them or just like just like have wild sexual fantasies constantly. It's a human being. If you think like just think nothing of it, like that's just how it should be. I Jesus
Mm-hmm.
Christ, I'm horrible at speaking. I should not be doing a podcast right now. If you find a characteristic attractive and also don't reduce a person to that characteristic, then I don't really see the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like there are men out there who really enjoy having threesomes with like them and then two other women. Uh, consensually with women who are also want to be in a threesome with a man and another girl. I think that's completely fine. So long
Mm-hmm.
as you're respecting people's individual boundaries. You know what I mean? I think you can really enjoy having sex with two women at once, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if you lay your eyes upon a woman who under the notion that they're attracted to another woman, you immediately start picturing your threesome with them and are like, I gotta do that. That's
Mm-hmm.
fetishization. Um, Enjoying threesomes with two women is not inherently. And I speak mainly from a male perspective because men are the perpetrators of fetishization. Mainly, I think. I think non-men in general just have like a better job of not reducing people to sexual characteristics.
Well, I think that can be attributed to amount of libido. It is true that testosterone does just cause a unmanageable amount of libido. Um,
Yeah, trust me,
but
I would know.
definitely people like
I think it's
it's
libido, it's patriarchy as well, and like expectations.
yes.
The idea that's reinforced of the acclamation of bitches,
Mhm.
like that being the main goal.
Mhm. Yeah, and but we do have people like yaoi girls who just spiral into a pit of being completely obsessed with these things, even as women. Mostly teen girls though. Um, and you know what? I used to be a like yaoi auntie. I also like
What's
just
a
that
yaoi
that kind of
anti?
I just saying, straight women should not be consuming any of this shit ever. Um which I don't think is at this point in my life, I don't think we should be crucifying people for that.
Yeah, yaoi girls are an endangered species too because they're all transitioning into men.
It's true.
I saw
It's
it.
true. See, this is one of the reasons why I believe that it's wrong to persecute like so strongly why it's wrong to persecute yaoi girls and yuri boys because a lot of these people are
Thank
just
you for the Yuri
closeted
boy
trans people.
inclusion. Yeah, no, a lot of
I
them,
believe
absolutely.
it's
I think if you're like particularly a relationship exclusively between like two women or men as the opposite sex, like a hyperfixation on that is uh an indication, not even necessarily that you're trans, but of some sort of discomfort with your gender, some idea
hmm
that I wish to share love with a woman in a womanly manner. That was, I mean, I certainly had my fair share of interest, we can call it, in Yuri, which is lesbian anime, if you weren't aware. Um, some interest being sexual, most of it being more like a romantic fantasy type of thing. That definitely helped crack my egg. Was realizing that I was not able to relate to like heterosexual relationships. I could relate to like heterosexual romance, like romantic tension in media. Like when I was like 11, like I don't know, like when like watching like Naruto have a crush on Sakura, I was like that's like me when I have a crush on a girl. But like when it came to actual relationships, there was virtually no self-insertion, and it wasn't until I found an anime known as Sakura Trick, where it's like two high school girls like falling in love, and I was like, that's what I want. And my dumbass went
hmm
around telling the whole world about it, about how much I wished I could be a lesbian, and how I was a male lesbian. Like, I said that like half jokingly, half crying for help.
Mhm.
Just need the world to
I
know.
do think I do think that the backlash against male lesbians was really fucking over the top.
I was the first he
Most
him lesbian. Okay, just putting that
uh-huh.
out there.
Uh-huh.
Like seventh grade.
Yep. Yep. And I think,
What the fuck is a
you know,
male? What is a male lesbian actually? Because I know what I called a male lesbian. I know what I meant when I called myself that. I didn't know what the fuck that.
you should know this, Demigloom. It's an incel archetype. Of guys who don't want to be women but want to be in a lesbian relationship. It's complicated. It's odd, and
I would
I
call that.
won't be able to be
I would call that
100%
gender
accurate off the top of my
dysphoria.
head.
Whether or not it's an indication that you want to be a woman, it's just like a very strong like discomfort with how your gender is dictating your place in something like a relationship. I would consider that to be
Hmm.
like light genders. Maybe I think gender dysphoria means it's like clinically significant, and
Hmm.
maybe it's not inherently clinically significant to have that kind of discomfort on like in a one particular area. But like I would consider that to be like a light form of gender dysphoria.
It's enough that a bunch of guys were self-identifying as incels because they didn't want to be in relationships as men. So I do
That's some
see a
egg shit.
lot.
I'm sorry.
It is some egg shit. It is. And but it like a lot of these people will apparently, I've never met one in real life, but insist that they are not trans, that they are men, that they just don't want to be in a relationship unless they are a woman, and they really
I
really
think if
really
the
want
I
that.
think if the emphasis is I want to be in a relationship as a woman, I want to be loved as a woman by a woman. I don't see the
Mhm.
problem there. However, considering that this is the incel community, I could very, very well see this playing out as I want to be with a lesbian.
Mhm.
I a man, want to violate somebody's boundary, that being no men, in order to fulfill my sexual desire, which is like almost similar concept, similar motivation, very different outcomes. And again, that's another example of the difference between fetishization and just normal healthy sexual thought that crosses bridges.
Yeah. Yep. Hold on. I'm gonna look up a definition. Yeah, this is some egg shit.
Yeah.
It is. I found not the Incelpedia definition, but just the Urban Dictionary definition. Um and
Incelpedia or like the incel wikis will always like try to frame like everything incels have ever said as like the least misogynistic shit ever.
yeah.
So they're like, a man, despite what leftists and feminists would like to tell you, a man who identifies as an incel simply is a guy who wishes he had a girlfriend. It has no implications about political view. And it's like, okay, come on. Come on.
Mhm.
Incels are men who are bitter towards women or towards a group that they feel owes them sex out of a sense of
Mhm.
entitlement. That's what an incel is.
Mhm.
Anyone who calls somebody an incel who's not that is being dishonest, and anybody who identifies as an incel and or any incel who says that that's not the case is lying to you. Let's just be
Mhm.
honest here. We got to do
I
a whole
think that
incel episode. It's a whole
we
rabbit
should do
hole.
a whole Imps Incel episode. That would be great.
It's just so yucky, man. It's so sad. That's the hardest part is because
It is.
my motivation to like inflict as much like emotional damage on incels for what they have done to me is there, but I also still have basic human empathy, which makes me reluctant to like be like, I hope this entire group of people dies in a fire. Like I can't do that, but I want to, and it's just this constant battle.
They are pitiful people. Even if they are extremely hateable people, it is also very difficult to not feel sad for them.
I'd say the incel community is populated with both pitiful people and like complete irredeemable monsters.
Yeah. And
I
yeah,
truly think
anyway.
there are people in there who are just guys who wish they could get a girlfriend. Like people who haven't
Mhm.
weren't too far gone. A lot of them end up leaving. A lot of people join that community and realize that they're batshit insane and then leave. That happens a
And
lot.
I do think that there are also a lot of trans women that get caught up in that because that's why they have the whole male lesbian thing, because the incel community is simultaneously very conservative and very transphobic, but also validates these feelings of these eggs who cannot bear the thought of being in a relationship where they are not a woman in the relationship with another woman.
A lot of people say there's like an incel to trans pipeline. A lot of like red pill people are like conservatives that think incels are losers, like alpha
Mm-hmm.
males. Will say that like incels are a bunch of closeted trans, or that being an incel like is like such like weak pussy behavior that it turns you into a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's more so that like um a group that prides itself in being the place for disenfranchised men is probably going to look appealing to a man who has completely failed as a man in society's eyes because fucking spoiler alert, he's not a man.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little
And
bit of overlap. I think it has more to do with the trans in denial being
yeah,
perceived as also like failed male type of shit.
yeah,
People have also
I
said like,
definitely.
"Oh, isn't it funny how like all these trans women are people who seemingly failed at being a man?" It's like, yeah, no fucking shit. Someone that spent their entire goddamn life resenting the anatomy they were assigned at birth and the roles they were forced to exhibit didn't exactly wasn't super enthusiastic to uphold those standards. And later on the line was proud to reject them. No fucking shit.
It's also funny to see the shift that has happened so quickly with conservatives, where they don't say shit like "you'll never be a real man" to young boys anymore, because a lot of the time they aren't real men.
Oh yeah, I spent my entire childhood. Everybody was like, oh, what are you, a girl? Go hang out with
Hmm.
girls, you loser. Go play.
Uh-huh.
Literally, my gym teacher, who thought me and my best friend, um, at the time male best at the time we're both men. Ironically, we both turned out to be trans women, and it's really funny. But my eighth grade gym teacher, to humiliate us because she thought we were gay, made us play football with girls. She divided the entire class into boys and girls, and there was a football game on one side. It was the girls play football, and on the other side it was the boys play football. And she made us play football with the girls to humiliate us.
She
Um,
knew.
yeah, we got to infiltrate women's sports. Let's go. Um,
Oh my god, the
nowadays,
prophecy has come true.
nowadays that's not what they would do to humiliate someone like that because it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh shit, maybe maybe you had a point.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Anyway, we've gone. This is a long sidebar.
it's always what are you, a fucking woman, pussy, weak? Go play with
Mm-hmm.
girls, and it's like, okay. It's like, no, 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 no. You're a man. You're a man. Look at your look at your big shoulders. You hear your voice? You're a man. You're nothing like a woman. You'll never be one. It's like, oh shit, it backfired.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Fetishization.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get fetishized a lot,
Fetishization.
and it's still yucky.
Mm-hmm. I'm also I don't talk about this very much on the podcast, but I am physically disabled. I have a condition that causes widespread pain and fatigue in my entire body.
Are people like,
Um,
damn, that fatigue is so hot?
that it's an actual thing though. There's
How?
um there's like a whole like dare subtype for anime girls of like a bedridden sickly girl that is a fetishized
That's just a
thing.
power fantasy. That's a gross power
It
fantasy at
is.
that point.
It is a gross power fantasy, but there are times see a lot of this is a thing with a lot of trans people and disabled people and just other people of other extremely marginalized and highly shamed groups. Um where you almost think for a while like I wish I would find one of these people that would just be super super into this because it's of course the only possible person who could love me. And I did feel that way a little while. I was like, I need to find one of these people who has this sick fantasy about someone who is extremely chronically ill. Because you know what who else would want to be with me? A lot of people are so crushed by their loneliness, by being so isolated because they're trans or because they're autistic, or because they're chronically ill, um, they let these people have to be in their life, and that's another really sad thing.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah. Well, this shit got dark. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it did.
This isn't even what we were supposed to be talking about.
hmm
I keep trying to bring it back to fetishization, but it just keeps going back to just like, okay, what's the most horrible thing we've ever seen a human being experience? And let's have like a therapy session about it. Like, Jesus Christ. um, I'm really trying to think. I mean, like, I've already talked about people, the penis girl from TikTok dilemma. I guess I could talk about how it's influenced my life. Fetishization, as well as just not being, being seen sexually, romantically, etc., even with just friendship. Literally, even with just friendship, this is a problem. But like, particularly in the realms of dating and romance and whatnot, like I pretty much just like this is my announcement to all my Chaser fans. I'm sorry to abandon you. This is gonna be like when people found out Pokimane had a boyfriend. But I'm T for T, guys. I'm not into. I don't want to be with a cis person at this point in my life. I'm done. I'm done with your cisgendered and heterosexual shenanigans. I'm out. I put in my 2 weeks notice like a month ago. It's over.
hmm Yeah, a lot of trans people end up not not just not exclusively being attracted to trans people, but the cookie ends up crumbling that way because it feels like the only cis people that ever show interest are chasers.
Yeah, chasers or people that like just see me. Like, I feel like trans people at this point are like the only people that'll ever truly see me as a woman. Maybe this is just really self-deprecating. But like I just don't believe that any cis person ever lays their eyes upon me and is like, yeah, that's a girl. Like, I just don't think that's the case. Um at least like most cis. There are some cis people that like really will surprise you with just how open-minded they are.
hmm
But like generally like I'm a guy. I'm a man. He blue I'm
Sport.
he to every by every stretch of the imagination to your average person who lays their eyes upon me. So I don't want to be with the average person. I don't want to explore that part of the average person.
It's a lot of fucking work to date cis people.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that like I'm not going to completely rule out the possibility that there's a cis person out there for me, but
hmm
yeah, I'm pretty much like, yeah,
Just a lot of emotional labor, a lot of potential trauma.
I'd probably have a trans girlfriend by now if they fucking existed. They're gone. I went on a date with a trans woman before I came out as trans one time. Um, that was complicated and awkward. Ironically, I was fetishized by a trans woman. Um, she was really into white boys, as she described them. She was into like
Ugh.
quirky white boys or whatever, and I was like, okay. She was white, by the way, which makes it
Uh-huh.
yucky, in my opinion. Like why as a white person are you like, oh, I really like other white people? To me, like, just say you don't like black people, because
Uh-huh.
that's what it sounds like. Maybe
hmm
maybe it's a very particular archetype of a quirky white boy that they're into, but I don't think I could I don't think I could draw like any kind of I don't think I could discern any particular archetype of like a quirky guy that is like exclusively white,
Yeah.
unless except for like racist guys. So
hmm
like alt-right dudes. It just seemed like, I guess that's another thing is racial fetishization we didn't talk
Yeah.
about.
We're two
Um
white people, so it's kind of a little bit fraught for us
I
to
mean, like,
talk
we don't
about
have
it,
we don't
but
have any personal experience.
yeah.
I mean, hey, you're
Um
Jewish. Do you get Jewish fetish people ever?
God, I wish that existed.
Does that not
There by
exist?
us
I've
having
seen it.
really? I haven't.
Particularly well, I guess Israeli women are a pretty sought
Okay,
after
that
group
that
by like
is
red pilled guys.
yeah. for a while I kept getting targeted ads that was like, get yourself a Ukrainian wife,
Oh
buy
my
her
fucking
online
god.
right now.
Buy her online right now.
Yeah. That's real. That is
Is that
real. You
included with
can
Prime?
uh-huh. you can you can
Same
find
day
some
shipping.
some miserable woman from an impoverished country and purchase her to be your submissive trad wife. Um
That's just
the
like
catch
that's
is
just
that
so
she
sad
the catch is that she comes with Stockholm syndrome, but that's kind of a plus, you know.
for someone who would seek that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just really sad because the fact that somebody would put themselves through that, like the fact that somebody is going through something so bad that they would rather be in that situation,
Yeah.
is horrible. And the fact that there's nobody out there reaching to them to the point where they would like, anyone out there to help them.
Mhm.
The fact that that's their best option. That's the best option that they've been presented with. Jesus fucking Christ.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, this sucks. I'm gonna sign up for human trafficking. Okay. Like, wow. I
Mhm.
think my life is hard, man.
Yeah. I haven't personally seen any Jewish fetishizers, but it's also
They're all over
pretty
4chan, but they're not the kind you'd expect.
Really?
uh, let's just say it's not in contradiction with 4chan attitudes towards Jewish people, but rather
Oh
in
yeah, of
addition
course.
to it.
Ooh, I want to feel this cold reptilian body.
Yeah, pretty much.
Uh-huh. Oh man. Oh man.
Hate
But yeah.
fetishes are so funny to me.
Uh-huh.
No,
There's so many of them for trans women. It's so amazing.
I okay, a trigger warning for the topic of sexual assault, but during like the peak of like the negative XP harassment and even before that, me just like hanging out in dark spaces of the internet full of disgusting people, something I shouldn't have done, something I regret, yada yada yada. I've apologized this for a million times. Um People who hated trans women were like, they're like, you're a disgusting man. I hope you kill yourself. I will do it for you. Just like type it, like just like the most insulting shit ever. Like a lot of these people, they were like grown men. By the way, friends of negative XP. I'm just gonna put that out there. Or like, God, Demigloom is so ugly. I can't wait to like rape her and put her in her place.
Mhm.
Um, there was a lot of sexual harassment during that, and was very frequently categorized as a rapeable troon. And
Mhm.
these people, it wasn't just they were hating me and trying to say offensive things. There's this very weird fetish that people have for like people that they're not attracted to these people. They think they're disgusting. But the idea of like putting someone in their place by sexually assaulting them, this ugly person, by stooping that low, is like turns them on for what they're putting someone else through.
Mhm.
And that's another thing why when people are like, how could this person be sexually harassing this person? They're not attracted to that kind of person. It's like okay, first of all, sexual harassment has to do with the implications of what you're putting someone through, not what's going on in your head. But second of all,
Mhm.
like people are absolutely turned on by the thought of like degrading somebody that they aren't
Yes.
attracted to, and it's a very weird thing that I will never understand. But it's out there and it's disgusting, and
I've
that's
yeah. On the internet, I've like occasionally come across a guy who's like, all these trannies think that they're so hot and that we're all secretly attracted to them, but I'm not. I think that's ridiculous. I think they're all delusional. And then you look up maps of the searches like shemale. You look up maps of it, and it is the Bible Belt that is most frequently
that's so
searching
true.
shemale. I can if anyone wants the proof, I can bring up
You're
the
not allowed to reclaim that slur though. You can't say that.
shemale.
Yeah, you can't say that.
I can't say that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't say it. No, I'm kidding.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing it. I've been doing it. I've been doing it this whole time. I made a whole bit about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take note of every time I say and I'm gonna hurt myself over it. And I just kept doing it and didn't notice it. It's over.
Oh my god.
It's Jover.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do really think that it is the people who are most vocal about hating trans women that think that they're super hot.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, trans women just are hot. And
It is true.
It's whether or not you're willing to accept it is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded like I was being serious. I think trans women are actually extremely unattractive. I would never fetishize a group like that. People are going to think that was serious. No matter what I say, people are going to think it's serious. No matter how absurd it is. I'll say the most crazy shit, the most outlandish shit that contradicts everything I stand for. And people are like, I can't believe Demigloom would actually believe this.
It's because there are people who actually believe it.
I feel like people should know. I feel like people know that I'm better. They should know that I'm better than that.
Yeah.
I think your Demigloom bullshit detector is pretty on point these days. I think I could say some pretty wild shit and you'll know that I'm just joking.
Yeah, it took me a while to get calibrated.
No, apparently. So I thought that you were just like really stupid. But apparently all these like observations that you've made about me are like true to everyone. Apparently everyone thinks that I hate them for like the first like 5 days of getting to know me. I don't know why. I literally don't know what it is that is it literally just that I don't smile very much? Because like
You're really cold. You don't smile, you don't make eye contact, you don't really engage a lot.
I think it's just really because people will say that I'm like really like intimidating. Like they were like people are like, yeah, I was really scared of you at first. I'm like, but I feel like once you get to know me, I'm probably the least socially intimidating person on earth.
Yeah.
Like I am like because I'm pathetic. I hate myself. I hate myself so much. Like I have virtually I don't have the confidence to go around asserting dominance around people. Like there's none of that is intentional. It's literally just that I'm a hunchback. Like I'm an ugly guy that doesn't smile a lot. And I'm creepy, I guess. I don't know.
You're tsundere.
Don't ever call me that. I'm not a tsundere at all. A tsundere is somebody who's like, oh, I don't like you. I would never, like people who are dishonest. Like I'm, like if somebody asks me, or if I'm ever provided with an opportunity to share how I feel about somebody or imply how I feel about somebody, I'm always extremely honest about that. To the point where it borders on mean. If somebody if I legitimately find someone extremely annoying and I never want to talk to them again, I'm not going to say that, obviously, but I make it kind of clear. Let's just say it's very clear whose company I prefer in any group setting. I'm not afraid to show that.
We're totally veering off, and this probably shouldn't be in the podcast, but that was such a fucking problem for me in high school because I cannot tell when people don't like me, and people would refuse to tell me that they don't like me. So I'd end up annoying the shit out of them until they lost all empathy for me and decided to bully me to suicide.
Yeah, that sucks.
Sucks to be me, for reals.
Do you think our opinions on fetishization are cancelable?
No.
I feel like my justification, the whole like, if trans women are really women, then big dicks shouldn't be different than big titties. I think that was a pretty good argument.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not calling myself a wordsmith or anything, but I think that's like a pretty solid reasoning that I can't imagine a rebuttal to that. Unless the rebuttal is literally like, you're not allowed to think anything is attractive. That's the only rebuttal I can think of. That's the only thing you could believe in that invalidates that. So
yeah.
But no, they'll take it out of context. They'll get angry. They'll figure it out. They're losers. They play at their grandma's house, okay? I don't have anything.
They play at their grandma's house.
There was this.
What does that even mean?
There's this stupid video. It's Donald Trump arguing with Walter Jr. from Breaking Bad, and then Donald Trump's like, "I got your IP. That is so kept, Jr. I got your IP right here. It's the 308 Negra Arroyo Lane." And then he was like, "That's not why. That's my grandma's house." And Trump's like, "Oh, you're a loser. You play at grandma's house." What a loser. I just say that all the time now. People laugh even though they don't understand the reference. It's kind of funny. I've played Call of Duty at Grandma's house before. It's not that pathetic.
Oh man.
Back to racial fetishization.
Yeah.
It's bad. I don't know if we said that.
Don't call people exotic.
Yeah, don't
call people exotic.
Don't call people ebonies.
Don't be like, oh, I love Asian men. Oh. I think. Oh God, this is the part where it gets fraught. I think it's okay to see someone's beauty in like see aspects of their race that are beautiful, but if
aspects of them that are beautiful that can obviously be attributed to race.
Yes, exactly. I don't think that that's wrong, because then you get into a situation where if people aren't allowed to find people of a different race attractive for their physical characteristics.
Yeah. Then you're just like a white nationalist. So
yeah.
No, like if you like say I don't know, say if there's if you're like a white guy with like a black girlfriend and you think her hair is like very beautiful and she has a very obvious black hair texture, black hairstyle. Like that, you know, you can't not say that her hair is beautiful just because it's a unambiguously black hairstyle. But the problem would be like if you were like oh, I love black women so much, and like, you know, it's just, I think it's really, with racial fetishization, it's pretty much just common sense.
Yeah. Just don't be a fucking weirdo and take it too far. See people as people and not for their physical characteristics.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Yeah, don't do slave role play. Don't do that.
Oh my God. I saw a tweet about that. A zeet, sorry.
It's just called an X now.
No, it's called I thought they were saying, I saw in an article that they wanted it to be called a zeet.
Oh my God. A xeet.
Xeet. Zeet. I'd pronounce it as zeet, which is so stupid. God, imagine taking one of the most recognizable brands in the entire world.
Some of the most recognizable in-app branding, such as tweet and retweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be X now.
With the death of Twitter, that'll be a huge blow to the chasers and the fetishizers, though.
Oh,
There's so many fucking chasers and fetishizers on Twitter.
It's a huge blow to all bad people. Twitter is literally just where bad people congregate. Like if you know good people in real life, like if you meet a good person and you ask what social media they have, they're not going to say Twitter, and if they have Twitter, they won't admit it. They have like an alt account, like an anonymous account. No good people, like no like self-respecting good person, is openly on Twitter.
I would never give either of my Twitter handles to anyone.
Your Twitter is extremely innocent. There's nothing remotely.
I'm ashamed to be on Twitter anyways.
No, but like my Twitter, like I could get fired for shit that I've said on Twitter. Like,
see, I reserve that shit for Facebook.
You could get fired for shit you say on Facebook.
I could get fired for shit I say on Facebook.
I could get fired for. Do you think you or I could get fired for things we say on middle school GSA?
I mean, I'm sure if someone combed through it, they could find something.
They'd have to take it
especially
so
that
out
I
of
could
context.
get fired for. I think that they don't really care at Walmart. I think anyone can get a job at Walmart.
Walmart probably does. I mean, at Walmart, I hear like racist shit in the break room all the time. Who is that? Do you remember that old white dude who like just shot some like completely innocent black kid that he'd never met in his life in the face for knocking on his door? He knocked on the wrong door. Literally, like in the break room, I heard like an older lady just like defending him. And she was like,
electric chair.
She was like, I feel bad for everyone in that situation. And then she was like, look, if a 6-foot black guy knocked on my door, I don't know what I would do. It's like, okay, so you're just admitting that you are
I
so
would tell her to
racist.
kill herself.
You are literally admitting that you are so racist that the sight of a black man would cause you to panic and pull out a gun and kill him. That's like one of
I
the few cases where I have like so little human sympathy for anyone defending that.
see. I'm not sure if I could hold back my temper. Hearing so. See, of course, I'm saying this in a context where I don't have to prove it, but
Yeah.
imagining that makes me so fucking angry. Oh my god.
Yeah. I should have, honestly, I should have reported her. Um, I don't think they would have done anything.
Mhm. Walmart.
Yeah.
At least I work with a bunch of woke white women, so they wouldn't say anything like that, but we just talk about. One of them only talks about the decorative cups that she buys from the internet.
Oh my
That's all
God.
she talks about. Oh, it's wonderful. It's great.
Man, I was lucky enough to have to be put in a department at Walmart, the single department at this entire Walmart that had other trans people in it, two other trans people, and we really hit it off.
They just put all the trans people in one department.
Well, the thing is, I signed up for the department because my strategy is don't let anyone know you're trans until
Mhm.
it's too late. So, because I do not want anyone to be like, oh, tranny, not hiring. You know,
Mhm.
application straight in the paper shredder, which is something that happens. Maybe it doesn't happen enough for me to just be so paranoid about it, but like it's just like, and it's also just like through like the general hiring process. It's just kind of an awkward like I just want to have the conversation, the hiring conversation. I want to prove myself as an employee before I out myself as one of the most hated groups of people in this country.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I signed up for this department, not knowing who was in it. Before I came out as trans to anyone around me, and by came out I mean was just like, gotcha, bitch. She, her. You have to call me she, otherwise you get fired. Um, yeah, I just so happened to be around other trans people, and this one coworker on the first day she walks up, she just like sighs really loud. She's like, oh, okay, is it he, she, or they? I was just like, Jesus Christ. I didn't do anything to indicate my gender. She just looked at me and was like, fuck, another one. Is it he, she, or she said, is it he, she, or they, them? I'm like, so they, them is the only one that gets a secondary pronoun. Like, just such this the simplistic worldview displayed in that question. But honestly,
Mhm.
that's probably one of the, if I had to make a tier list of all the times people like took note of my gender nonconformity and approached me about it, that's probably A tier.
Mhm.
People are really bad.
God, and people can't even tell with me, which tortures me. They just
No,
think I'm
nobody
a
ever
quirky.
asks.
No.
No, nobody really ever asks me, except for like little children
Mhm.
and like people who are around a lot of trans people. They're like, okay. I think most people
Mhm.
think I'm non-binary, which I mean, I guess makes sense. I don't look like I'm trying hard to pass as a woman. A lot of people have said that to me, like, yeah, you just don't look like you're trying hard enough, you know. And they see non-binary as just like basically just half commitment to the
Mhm.
opposite sex, which is obviously not the case. But yeah, people assume I'm non-binary. It's whatever.
People assume I'm just a tomboy. Sucks. And that's another fetishized category of person. Highly fetishized. I mean, it's okay to, like, think it's cute, but Christ, don't be like, oh, I need it. I need tomboy pussy. I need it.
It's like that meme where you remember that meme where it was like in like huge quotations, it was like, I want a girl who likes football and video games and this and that, and it was like, you want a boyfriend, you are gay.
Yes.
It reminds me of that when people are like so hardcore into tomboys.
Uh-huh.
Don't, dude, can we talk about tomboy representation in media and how shitty it is?
It is so shitty.
Every fucking movie for a long time, like the tomboy character was always like brushed off to the side, and like it seems like we're supposed to be like getting some kind of message about like, you know, people are different, you know, she doesn't have to conform to like beauty standards, she's a strong independent woman. And it's like, oh yeah, by the way, at the end of the movie, she gets her hair curled and like wears like a white
Mm-hmm.
dress, like the forced feminization, the transformation.
Yeah. The transformation sequences, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, so okay, now she's valuable. Now she's hot. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And these guys have such a weird, warped perception of what tomboys are because they have no fucking idea what a real tomboy is like. They're like, "Oh, I want a tomboy who only shows me her feminine side and no one else." And it's
They
like
see it
the
as like somebody who's like masking or like hiding like their
yeah.
true self. They see tomboy
Yeah.
as like, yeah, or like they'll see it as like a youthful thing that they'll grow out of too.
Mhm.
Just another example of patriarchy and how it's plagued people's perception of the world around them.
Mhm.
And also like how the just in movies in general, like for the guy, like the woman, like the guy doesn't have to change or do anything. It's always like a quirky dude or whatever, like a like you know, Hollywood's understanding of quirky, which is in reality like still above average in normalcy or in conformity to male standard.
Mhm.
This guy is like, okay, he's a little quirky, whatever, for this perfect world that we've put in. And like the girl is also quirky, but like she like learns to accept him for like who he is, like deep down inside, and learns that none of the performative shit matters. But in order for him to see who she really is, like she has to go through like a whole like conformity
Uh-huh.
transformation and bimbification. It's bad. It's like, no, no, no,
Oh
men don't have to
man.
do it, but women do. That's basically what every movie says. It's so bad.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, we're okay. We hit 2 hours. This is getting a little ridiculous.
Fetishization bad. Finding traits attractive fine.
Yeah,
See the whole person.
yeah, and don't immediately sexualize somebody with a certain characteristic. You know,
Mhm.
your girlfriend has huge titties, and you love your girlfriend's huge titties. Cool. I mean, I'm happy for you. I'm happy you can appreciate this characteristic of hers. You're in a room and there's another woman with huge titties. You can't keep your eye off of them. You're constantly imagining sexual things with her. Fucking gross, dude. Just let people around you be people. Don't sexualize them
Mhm.
all the time just because they have characteristics that in you know in your sexual thoughts show up. It's just like really common sense, like really common
If
sense shit.
anyone if anyone ever jokes about they them pussy to me, who isn't a really close friend who is specifically doing it to mess with me, um God fucking rest their soul.
I would joke about they them pussy if it was funny. It's just not
Uh-huh.
funny. Like the people who make those jokes are just like all like closet fetishizers,
Mhm.
and they're it's always straight men who like
Mhm.
we talked about it. It's yucky, gross. Yeah, fetishization is bad. Some things are miscategorized as fetishization because 15-year-olds are lunatics. Fuck 15-year-olds. Fuck you guys. I hate 15-year-olds, you know? If you're 14, it's whatever. You're a child. If you're 15, you're a complete dickhead. I hate you. And if you're 16, it's whatever.
Mhm.
Don't care.
That is
No
just a
thoughts.
really rough year.
It really is. Everything sucks when you're 15. When you're 15, you're just wrong about everything.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't know why that is the case. I was certainly wrong about everything when I was 15, particularly more so than 14 or 16.
Mhm.
Did you know me when I was 15?
I think
Yeah, I was
I
15 when you
was
met me.
I think I was in the same space as you when you were 15. I wouldn't say I met you.
No, you met me when I was 15.
I met you,
When you
but
helped me with math, I was 15.
and you wouldn't speak to me? Yes.
Okay, but you followed me on Instagram at that time period, right?
Yes, this
I
is
was
true.
wrong about a lot of things, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was wrong. Were you wrong when you were
Mhm.
15?
Yeah, of course.
Well,
I think I was more wrong when I was 14.
maybe I
That's
was
when I
too.
started to develop strong opinions about things, but wasn't well informed enough about any of them.
Maybe 13 was the. I feel like 13, like I would have seemed the worst because I would just like literally regurgitate anything I heard people say that sounded
Yeah.
smart, even though I didn't actually believe in anything.
That's all 13-year-olds.
Yeah, let's just say it's a shame I was around some horrible people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is not entertaining at all. Where can we find Felonious Ferris?
Um, on on X. You can find me on X.
Can we quit X together? You and I,
Ugh,
and I can get more people to join. Can we just boycott that shit? Like finally.
Are we going to Blue Sky?
What
Are
the
we
hell's
going to
Blue
Truth
Sky?
Social?
If I can get you and maybe like one or two of my other friends to migrate to Truth Social, I'll delete my Twitter account, or at
I
least like
don't
deactivate it.
I don't want to give, because that would give ad revenue to Trump.
True.
Except all of the ads on Truth Social are literally, I saw an advertisement for an audiobook called Trump in Bible Prophecy.
Oh my god.
that's,
That's just awesome. That's insane. I would love to read that. That would be so
it's
funny.
not a joke. That is real. I bet you can find it.
Those are like the people who like tweeted like the AI art of like Trump getting arrested by the FBI, like ironically. Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. A big reason
Blue
why I'm
Sky
still on
is the
big reason why I'm still on Twitter is because that's where I get my Felonious Ferris bad opinions. And if you quit Twitter, I feel like I'd be more motivated to do it myself. But as long as you're on there, I'm probably gonna stick around.
Blue Sky is the thing that everyone's going to. That's the thing. It's the new website made by the original creators of Twitter.
Blue Sky. What about Threads?
What the fuck is Threads?
It's Instagram's version of Twitter that like has Instagram integration. So I get notifications all the time like, "Ooh, hey, your homies are on Threads. Want to check out some dank memes?" Like it's very like out of touch boomer shit. So
I don't know. I could make a Threads account.
maybe I should just get on Tumblr.
I love Tumblr, but Tumblr is not going to become the new Twitter.
Multiple trans mask friends of mine are telling me to get into Tumblr, so I'm considering it.
It's really difficult to get any kind of traction on any posts in Tumblr unless you're doing fandom stuff.
I feel like that's good though.
It's all just for nerdy girls.
I feel like
and trans people.
I feel like if I could like turn like my Twitter brain into like, you know, go onto a different website where I'm not incentivized to like argue with people and like get views, and it was literally just for like a couple people that follow me. I feel like that would significantly improve what I'm putting out there.
You know, that might be true. I am on Tumblr at Felonious Ferris. You can see my shit posts about One Piece that I made months ago. I'm gonna start One Piece again soon. Pick up in where I left off in Dressrosa.
Cool.
So
I care about One Piece. Yeah,
you can see all of my shit posts in my my silly meme animatics.
Amazing. Is that it?
I'm on YouTube. I haven't posted anything there.
Make a video. Just tell me what you want to make a video about, and I'll help you.
Fine.
No, we're gonna decide. We're gonna decide right now. What are you making your video about? What's a topic you care about? That's not anime, please.
I love anime so much, though. I could make a video about 1984.
Cool. You heard it here. You heard it here first. A leftist analysis of 1984 coming soon.
God, I'll have to reread it and take notes though, and it's so fucking dry. It is so dry.
Or just talk about some like weird like non-binary stuff that you already know about.
I can talk about the misogyny, but I bet like there are a billion different essays about the misogyny in 1984.
Probably. Anyways, you can find me on YouTube. Just look up Demigloom on YouTube. DEMIGLOOM. And I have a debate with my trans med friend. Yes, I said friend. Oh my god, I'm friends with somebody who has bad opinions. Jesus Christ. No, my good friend Kathy is a really bad person who thinks non-binary people aren't valid, and I destroyed her in a debate. Absolutely humiliated her. You should go check that out. It's a good content, and also there's some short video essays on there that are kind of funny. Looking back, like my abortion video and my are trans people grooming kids video weren't that great. I think they're good for people who aren't like super into politics. Like I feel like my videos would be good for like I feel like if somebody was like a younger person, like a high schooler, and like was like generally progressive but didn't know how to articulate like anything or like really understand politics very well, they'd have a good time watching my videos and they'd learn a lot. But for the rest of the world, my videos are just short, cute little videos where I talk about politics, and you should go check them out. I also have a podcast called The Issue Crew. Remember when I said I had a bad friend? Well, guess what? I have 5 more, and we do have a podcast called The Issue Crew that comes out Saturdays. I think yeah, every Saturday The Issue Crew comes out, and it's a good show. It's good stuff. You should go check it out. And I guess I'm technically on Twitter until I convince Felonious Ferris and Squeebo the Last to get off of Twitter.
But Bodega Cats is on Twitter. I love Bodega Cats.
Listen, the first step is admitting you have a problem.
I love Bodega Cats,
the second step is admitting that you're going to have to make some sacrifices, okay? No, I say I'm going to quit Twitter like every 4 months, and then I like take like, then I'm like, okay, I'm officially done, guys. You could DM me on Discord. It's over. And like 4 months later, I just come back, so whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's worth it for the cat pictures.
It's worth it because there are multiple public figures who I have no contact with outside of Twitter. It's the same reason I'm on every app that I'm on that's not Discord. If literally everyone in my life had Discord, that's literally the only application I would use. In fact, I probably wouldn't even need to upload videos to YouTube or stream on YouTube. I could just stream on Discord if everyone was on Discord. Obviously, I want recordings. I used to like just like stream on Discord, like just have like a bunch of people muted, just like in the call, like watching me do stuff. Discord would be a cool streaming platform if you could literally just record on Discord. But yeah, anyways, we've been talking for way too goddamn long, and that's probably not going to be the case in the final recording because I'm going to cut out a bunch of boring stuff. But yeah, this has been Middle School GSA. Thank you for listening, and I've been Demigloom.
Bye-bye!
Yep, you're supposed to say, and I've been Felonious Ferris.
Oh, well, fuck you. I'm Felonious Ferris. Bye-bye! Okay, there we go.